I love when I get home and FedEx delivers the goods. Yeah, buddy. So what we have here is a pair of Shinko Tourmasters, which are the F230s. We've got a front one in 110/90/18 and a rear in 130/90/17. Blah, 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 tubeless, all that jazz. Anyway, we will be putting these on the bike because the rear tire looks like this. I also have a flat spot in the front, but that might be a little bit of an issue. I rode a little over 500 miles on this trying to get home and parked it because I didn't have tires, and finally got tires, so we're gonna get this thing cracking. Now I've already started. This is shaft driven, so it's a little bit different than a chain and sprocket system, but it's fairly easy from what I've heard. I've never done one before, but we're gonna give it a try. If you happen to own a V65 Sabre, like I do, then follow along with the measurements and wrench sizes and all that. If you don't, well, you're just gonna have to figure it out. First thing you're gonna want to do is, I've already done it, but you want to loosen up that axle nut right there. That one happened to be a 1 1/16 wrench. Once you have that thing loosened up some, I like to run it just about to the edge of the axle there. You're going to want to remove this pinch bolt right in there. That's a 12mm, so we're going to break out the 12mm. Got a Craftsman for this one, and give it a little push. Once your pinch bolt is loose, I'd say that's sufficiently loose. You're going to want to drive the axle out to the right from the left side. I'm going to use this rubber mallet here. Just give it a little tap. It should move. You'll see this bolt come out a little bit. We'll just go ahead and spin that the rest of the way off. And since it's loose, we don't have to worry about hitting it real hard. There we go. Now I have the axle out, we can pull that all the way. Be careful though, because the things that will come out when you pull the axle is the rear wheel and tire set will drop, and the caliper bracket right there will come out also. But from there, you're just going to pull this out, pull that tire out, or that wheel and tire out, and we are in business. Okay, real quick, once you pull the axle out, a washer will fall. When you go to put it back, it goes right in there between the caliper mount and the swing arm. So that's just a note. Also, there is oil on the axle, so try not to get it too dirty. I put a rag down. You can do whatever you want with yours. If you want to clean it, go ahead and do that at this time. But now you can see the wheel is actually on the ground, or almost on the ground. The only thing holding it up right now is the brake caliper. So we're going to go ahead and get that off and get this wheel out. Okay, so we have the rear wheel off. Just a note, you do have to push it. You have to slide it to the right before it'll drop out. Just get on the left side here and just give it a solid push with 2 hands and it'll pop out. And then you gotta kind of finesse it out. I had to tilt it a little bit going this way and then slide it out to get it around the fender. But there's your rear wheel and tire. At this point, we're going to pull the valve stem out, let the air out, then we'll break the bead, pull the tire off the wheel, and then put our shiny new Shinko on, balance it out, and we're good to go. While I have you here, let me show you my really cheap and easy way to break tire beads. This will work on cars also. You just have to make some minor adjustments to it. But we have a floor jack, a pair of 2x6s, a ratchet strap, and the tire. Sometimes you might need like a 1x6 or something. But what you do is you take the round plate of the jack, you get it as close to the edge on the bottom as you can, but you don't want it touching the metal. You want it just sitting on the rubber, and then you overlap the wheel itself with the 2x6. Sometimes you have to, I'm sorry, the 6x6. Sometimes you have to place the 2x6 in between them. But basically what happens then is you ratchet the 6x6 down fairly tight. Then you start cranking on the jack, and what that'll do is that'll push the bottom sidewall up, and eventually it will break that bead. I did the one on this end here. You can see that on that side. So then we'll take a look at it. And you can see that that bead is definitely broken. From there you can go around, and usually one-handed you can just squeeze the wheel, or squeeze the tire, I'm sorry. You just squeeze the tire and the bead will continue to break all the way around. Moving on to the front wheel, you're going to want to jack it up on the chassis, on something on the frame, like that. See how it's on a cross member there? Not under the engine oil pan. You'll definitely break something. But you're going to want to break this bolt loose right here. It's a little 6mm Allen right there. So you want to get that pinch bolt loose, and then you have a 17mm axle, which threads directly into the other fork. And once you pull that out, it's basically the same thing as the other side, except there's no weird swing arm situation. The only thing you need to worry about is, once again, spacers and the speedometer right there. So there you go. Now it's out, and all you have to do is lift up slightly on the bottom of the wheel and tire, slide this out once again to the right side of the motorcycle, set it somewhere where it's not going to get beat up or dirty, and then we repeat the process on this side for swapping out the tires. Okay, now we're moving on to the balancing part. It's really simple. All you need is a balancing stand. I'm using a couple of buckets and this balancing stand I got off of Amazon. But what you do is you clamp these cones inside the wheel bearings, and then you're going to take the wheel and let it go. And it's going to spin ever so slowly. You can kind of help it a little bit and then stop it somewhere. And what you're looking for is you're looking for it to stop moving. Now I've already put a few weights there, so I'm going to turn it just a little bit. Why is my hand shaking? We're going to turn it just a little bit and let go. And you see how it still goes up and up and up and up and up, and then it stops right there. Now the 12 o'clock position, think of this as a clock, the 12 o'clock position, which is right there, is the lightest side. The 6 o'clock position, right down there, is the heaviest side. So you want to add a little bit of weight to the top right there, and then turn it. And what you're waiting for is enough weight to where it doesn't move anymore. Or if it does move, you know, if you add more weight and it moves the opposite direction, then like when the weights are at the bottom, that means it's too heavy. So you're gonna have to split that difference. You're either gonna have to take a weight off or put another weight elsewhere. There's no guarantee that you're gonna get it perfect, but you want to get it as close as possible. So we're going to put one more weight on this side, right there at the top. Turn it a little bit and let go. See, now it's barely moving. And I'm going to call that good enough, because I'm not going to sit here and put weights all the way around my wheels. I just don't have time for that. Also, one thing that's very helpful is some form of brake cleaner to wipe down. You can see where I wiped off the surface where I was putting the weights. That way you don't have any dust or dirt or anything getting onto that adhesive if you're using these push-on style weights. But once you get both wheels balanced, it's time for reassembly.